Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Ronin Kaze. Man, that's bright. That's a little too bright. Got the beginning nailed down. The background's going to be the last part of Manning National Zoo. I was trying to queue up for the weekly legendary, but I got in a Manning group instead and it was super easy. Everyone was really great. But I want to kind of do a precursor to talk about notes. Of course, I want to do a kind of a video on note-taking. This is one of those third rail topics on the internet. And this goes across Windows, Linux, Apple, iPads, Samsung, everything. If I give you a little history as an old codger, there was a program called Sidekick by Borland, and it was a DOS program. And in DOS, you couldn't have one, you could only run one program at a time, till there was a program called Desk View, DESQ View, which let you kind of do that. But before then, they had a thing called Terminate but Stay Resident, TSR. And so what would happen is you'd have your DOS. DOS was also limited to 640K kilobytes of memory. And it could address more than that. So there was a place between 640 and 1,000. There was a little part where they would hide the memory in there. Well, really, before they did that, they would stick it, in the top of your memory. So you might have 640K, but then you might have like a 60K program that was Terminate, Stay Ready. So there's a program called, it was from Borland, and it kind of started that. And then a bunch of other programs came along. I was in the Coast Guard, very junior at that time. I had like a Toshiba 100. It was a laptop. And I had like NEC laptops before that, which were similar to the TRS 100. I'll go into that one day. But so my first real program I used was a thing called Tornado Notes. And Tornado Notes was like Google Notes. You couldn't put any images in there, but it was just free-form notes that would size to whatever size the note was. However much text you had in there, that's how big it would be. And I loved that, right? That free form suited me perfectly. And as everything in life, all good things must come to an end. So eventually that company changed that into a program called InfoSelect, and it had a tree structure like the majority of note-taking programs have today, right? You have your stuff on the side and then a window with what's in the note. I couldn't stand that. I don't think like that. So anytime we're talking about note-taking apps, this is a problem I got, right? Because I want something like Google Notes, or Google Keep, excuse me, but I don't want to use it with Google because I don't want to give them all my precious sweet data. One of the reasons we're all here on Linux, one of them, not the main reason, I'm here because my Windows computer crapped out playing games. And I gutted it. And I put all that into a little mini PC that's super powerful for what I do. Man, I got smoked there. So I'm constantly searching. So I've had OneNote for forever, and I've had tablets for forever. So I've been writing OneNote notes from like 2008 on. And I really got notes to go back to 2014 maybe on OneNote. I had a little Casio computer. I had one of those Palm Pilots that you could write on, and I'm all for writing down my notes. Because in college, it was just how I force-fed myself knowledge. If I wrote it down, I would remember it. There goes the white light, YouTube. Maybe I'll get rid of it. It's too bright. So The holy trinity of notes is this. I can take my notes anywhere. So it can work on a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a desktop. It can work on any operating system. I don't need to be in the notes on the phone, i.e. I don't need to have the same input style, because on the phone I'm really just pulling data out. I don't really need to, I could jot down a quick note. So almost every, give me the best note-taking apps of 2025, almost invariably none of them have handwriting. OneNote's in there, but it's down on the list and everyone S's on it. And OneNote, the app is okay, but OneNote, the web, right? But I still have all my data from years and years and years of working, so I'm super happy about that. But while that does kind of suit the need, it's lacking in a lot of the areas that note-taking have improved upon. And, you know, when Obsidian, I started reading about that, I was like, oh, that sounds great. Except it doesn't sync everywhere unless I pay them to sync it. So, what this is eventually going to be when I'm not today, because it's a lot of research, I can tell you my initial research. Ultimately, if you're an outline person, then you're going to stick with one of those outline people. I would just submit, this is my opinion, there's something inherently wrong with you as a human being if you think in outlines. Where in nature do we ever think in outlines? I could be wrong. Like, I just don't see outlines out there. I understand if you need structure, because if you don't have that structure, you might fall off the rails. I'm teasing YouTube, I'm teasing. I don't need that structure. What I need is, when I'm giving you these references that I'm giving you, that I can store them, Nicholas Taleb, whatever the guy's name that wrote The Black Swan, I need to be able to recall his name quickly. Do I want it? My wife the other day called me up and said, hey, I want you to get me some food. What do they have on the menu? YouTube, I have pretty good memory. I do not put BS in it. Like, who cares that a memory? Something that my mom told me when I was young. She wrote, when she went to college, she wrote everything down on 3x5 index cards. And her basic thing was, now we're going to fight the bosses here. Her basic thing was, why should I waste my brain with all this dumb stuff when I can, you know, put it on one of these cards? I guess I think I'm a little bit as far as menus. Like, I don't need to remember, do they have, what type of rice they have at a place. Is it brown rice? Is it mixed rice? Is it yellow rice? I don't care, right? So I flushed that. And I'll give you a shortcoming that I have. If something is a binary choice, if it's either this or this, I will never remember it. Because what am I saving by remembering a 50-50 choice? What? I'm not saving anything in time, space, whatever. But I would like an easy thing. This is what I'd like the notes to do when I have ideas for videos or I have inspiration for, you know, parts I'm going to put in here. I'd like to put that somewhere. I'd also like to just take the transcript of all these and put them into these notes, you know, to be able to make a transcript of the video and put it back into these notes and then somehow start linking these topics. Obsidian is really the best thing for that. What I don't get, right, so remember I'm coming from DOS. What I don't get is why I need to do markup. Why can't I just hit Control B to boldface it? Why do I got to have 2 stars around it? I mean, the computer's powerful enough to just do all that stuff. In fact, that's one of the things, when I was doing the video about the desktops, that's one of the things I was like, why do we even need enlightenment anymore? All that Spartanness. Yes, it's a programming marvel, but why do we need it to be so Spartan? Because there was a time when the computer resources weren't how they are now. We have an embarrassment of riches in processing. We have such an embarrassment of riches in processing that we've just made AI use graphic cards. There you go, AI. You can have those islands over there. We'll take the CPU that it's not as smart as all those CUDA cores. It's not smart, it's just more processing, and it needs all that stuff, I guess. And believe me, just, I love to bash AI. You can't figure out that my alarm is set every single day. That'd be an invasion of your privacy. You're listening to everything I said for advertising, but you can't figure out, hey, did you really want to shut off your 5:45 alarm? Anyways. So note-taking is basically you are going to get some type of outlining situation. And Obsidian has a couple things that I like. There's a drawing program called Concepts that I used to take notes on for about a year and a half. I like that it's basically a whiteboard, and I can put it in layers. The problem is getting data out of it, right? So the other thing I have is I'd like to eventually turn these notes. I don't want to use Nebo to transfer. Why? AI, you're so smart, but you can't read my handwriting? So I'm very particular about the notes, but I've got to do something, I think, in my life. Obsidian would be fine, except I got to do sync thing to sync it on everything, so I got to learn how to use sync thing. So that's part of the process I got to do before I'm going to give you the video. This is a tribute video. And one of the viewers contacted me and said, I didn't know you liked Tenacious D. That song, I'm going to tell you how stupid I am. Spoiler alert, YouTube. I didn't understand what the tribute song was. Like, even though he said it, because I'm not a lyric guy, even though he said this is a song about this song, this isn't the song. This isn't the video about notes. This is the video talking about the video that's going to be the notes. So that's back at you. Thank you, viewer, for the feedback. Thanks for the other people who gave me a little bit of comments. Pause. Why did I not enable the comments in the beginning? It had been overwhelming, right? Because it's hard not to be driven by your comments. Negative, positive, whatever. So I appreciate that they're positive, and I appreciate that you give me ideas because I go down those rabbit holes. When I first did the channel back whenever I did it, I would get into the drama where people would be upset because, I said when we were playing the game, you could, whatever. I don't want to get back into that, but I'm not doing this to create drama for people. And I can't make anyone happy. I can only make me happy. I do that very poorly, but right, you control your own happiness. You control the people you're hanging out with, gaming with. You control the people that you follow. Or do you, algorithm YouTube? I might say this time to like, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. So I'm really looking into notes. There was a thing, and I'm trying to have it on Linux, right? So that's kind of the other thing. But obviously, right? Obviously, everyone, the ideal note would be if you could do your own server, something like Google Notes that's a little more free form. Because you're going to spend time forcing it into your artificial construct outline. If you could just take notes, it would work. You're shaving some time off your process. I understand it. I got to do it anyways, Ronin. I can't just have these thoughts going around because who knows what I would do. That's a you problem. But that's what we're getting. Of course, anything that was based on the web's good, but part of the reason we're in Linux is we're trying to have some security, trying to have some privacy, trying not to be the product. So I understand that. So I'm trying to get something that I can install from Linux easily. There's standard notes, there's a bunch of other things, but if I got a flat pack, I'm not really happy. Because I just want to play my games and upload my videos. And if I ever use Caden Live, that'd be great to see. And so I could tell you how slow it is compared to the iPad. So YouTube, this is what we're talking about. Everyone wants to take notes. It's done a bunch of different ways. And I'm not trying to force my view of notes on you. What I'm going to say, I'm going to take you through my journey, and hopefully you get some ideas for you. This goes hand in hand with people that are task list people. It's a subset of this note-taking thing. And there was a thing called Get Things Done. There's all kinds of things. I went through a phase trying to figure out what was the best one of those. Get Things Done, Pick Up the Milk might have been one. Some of them are you never let your inbox be full. You immediately process everything in your inbox, and whether you shift it onto someone else or anything. There's a zillion different strategies for that. But that's all part of this. In the old days, we used to call this personal information management, a PIM. Can't call it that now. It's probably an acronym for something crazy. There was a couple databases called Ask Sam was one that was a freeform database. Always happy with freeform databases. Searches kind of take away the need for that. But a database, this is going to be short. Database is usually structured first name, last name, whatever. But a freeform database would just have one thing, all the text in it would read out of it. We have enough processing power now. Give me all the text. It's kind of what you're doing with, if someone put a big cache of information out on the internet and you wanted to search it just for whatever terms you wanted. It'd be great if we could all do that, wouldn't it, YouTube? This is Ronin Kaze, trying not to get in trouble. Thank you, YouTube. Bye.